What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tank B Choppin, and I'm coming at y'all with another haircut tutorial. So as you can see, we are going to be doing a kid's cut in this video. We're going to be doing a drop fade, and then we're going to be trimming the top. We're going to give them that messy crop top style on top, and then we are going to be putting that part back in. Let's get it. So we're gonna start this haircut off by trimming the top. I already have the top saturated. As you can see, I'm setting in my first initial guideline, and I'm taking off about 1/2 inch. And I'm just gonna set this guideline all the way to the front. And I'm gonna pull up a little bit of the previous hair that I cut, and I'm gonna use that as the guideline to keep it moving forward. And then when I come the opposite way and do the rest of the top of his hair. So this is my little homie Evan. I've been cutting him up for quite some time. I think I'm actually the only one that's cut his hair. I cut his older brother and his dad, and they've been clients of mine for a long time. So I'm pretty sure I'm the only barber that's cut his hair. You know what? I'm lying. Only other barber that cut his hair is, well, that I know of, is my boy Matt. You know, sometimes they go to Matt. Also, they try to keep the business in the shop, and I just want y'all to know that we appreciate that. But let's go ahead and get back to this cut. As you can see, I'm just evening out the top with that initial guideline that I set in, and I'm going all the way through the top of his head just to make sure that's all nice and even. So now all I'm doing is some cross-checking, making sure all of the top of his hair is nice and even. And now as you can see, I'm doing some slice cutting. He does have some really straight hair, so I do want to create some texture. That way it has a nice textured effect when we decide to style his hair on top. So now I'm going in with my texturizing shears, just creating more texture. And this is basically the same thing as point cutting. But for me, it's just easier to do it with this actual shear. So we're just gonna do this because, like I said, guys, his hair is really straight, and we wanted to add some more texture to this cut. So now, as you can see, I'm just blow drying the top, and I'm just doing it just because, you know, I'm gonna cut the sides down, and I need to fade it all into the top. And sometimes it's a little difficult to try to cut through wet hair. So I know a lot of barbers like miss this step. They just want to not do it, and it literally takes like an extra 2 minutes, if that. You know what I'm saying? And I would always recommend to do this. It just makes the haircut a little easier, especially if your client doesn't go for that wet look. If you decide to cut the top last, then you can actually give them a finished look of what their haircut's gonna look like. So now I'm going in with my number 4 guard, and I'm just debulking the sides, floating that clipper up and away, right about that parietal ridge. And as you can see, we don't really want to take too much off of that crown area, so I am trying to make sure that I'm floating that clipper up and out and using that flick out motion. So now I'm going right under that with my number 3 guard, still using that flick out motion, still floating that clipper away. We don't want to go exactly to where we did with that number 4 guard, because if we do, we might create a line. And obviously that's something I'm not trying to do. I'm just trying to debulk these sides a little more, just so I can make this fade a little easier on me.
Damn it, Tito. Another one?
So here is my number 2 guard, coming up right below what I just did with that number 3 guard. Still using that flick out motion and flowing that clipper up. And I'm just really not coming as high because, like I said, guys, I just want to make this fade easier for me, so I don't want to create any more lines in this haircut. All right, so now we're actually gonna go ahead and start balding them out. So like I said earlier, we are doing a low drop fade. So I'm starting off, taking off that part right at his ear. I'm coming up right over his ear, and I'm dropping it down in the back. And in the back, you wanna make sure you're coming right below that occipital bone. Now I got my shaver in my hand, and I'm going ahead and knocking down all this hair down to that shaver level. That way we get this as shortest as we possibly can. Now I'm going in with my clipper lever open, And I'm gonna be coming up a section, and these sections could be, they can be 3/4 of an inch, they could be half an inch. I like to do them on the bigger side most of the times, because like I've said before, guys, I like to stretch my fades out a little bit. So I'm gonna be coming up about 3/4 of an inch. I see a lot of people coming up maybe half an inch, but for me, like I said, guys, I like to do mine a little more stretched out than normal. So once I create that next guideline, I'm gonna be going in with my clipper halfway, and I'm only gonna come up halfway into that section. And then as you can see right there, I just adjusted that lever a little more closed than what it was previously. And then I'm gonna close it all the way and just attack the bottom of that line. Here is my number 1 guard, lever is open. And we are coming up another section, and same thing with this section, guys. We're still gonna follow that same shape, and we're still gonna come up about 3/4 of an inch. And we are using that flick out motion. That way we don't create a harsh line, and it makes this haircut easier. And once that guideline is set in, we're gonna make sure that lever is closed, and we're gonna come right below that and attack the bottom of that line. And you can do some slight lever play in there if you feel it's needed to help give this fade a better look. So now I'm just going in with my lever open, and I'm just attacking some dark areas that I see doing some slight lever play and some small detail work. And the reason why I'm doing this now, guys, I'm not fading this all the way up, is because I want to put that line in there, hit that line up a little bit, and then see where this fade looks. That way I can go ahead and detail where I need to. So now I got my trimmers in my hand. These are the absolute hitters from Gamma. Remember, guys, if y'all want to buy this, y'all can go straight to their website and use my code TANK10. You'll get 10% off. But as you can see, I just followed that part that I just did right there. I just curved it up and then dropped it down in the back. Kind of like how I did my low fade guideline.
Damn it, Tito. Another one?
And as you can see, I am going over it a couple times. I just want to make sure I can get this line as crisp as I can. Now what I'm doing here, guys, I'm just attacking this lineup, putting this picture in a frame, that way I can see where I need to detail. So as you can see here, I am detailing this cut now. I got my lever with the clipper open, doing some detail work, added that number 1 guard. And you can just see me switching through my guards, guys, coming up and cleaning up that area right below that part. And now I'm gonna go back and finish this fade above that part. So this is my 1.5 guard, and I just cleaned up all that area. And remember, guys, we did a 2, so that's why that side of the haircut was so easy for me. So what we did to that side, guys, is the same exact thing we're gonna do to the right side. I already hit that with a number 4, so I'm coming back with my number 3 guard and my number 2 guard. And that way, when we do decide to fade this up, all we really need to do is fade up to that number 2 guard. So here I am with my trimmers balding out to the right side of this haircut. And then I'm gonna follow this by coming up with the razor. And I didn't say this on the other part, on the other side, guys, but remember, guys, when you use the shaver, you wanna come up right below that line, and the closer you get to that line, you wanna give a slight flick out motion and try to relieve some of that pressure. So like I said, guys, we are doing the same exact steps. Nothing's really changed on this side of the cut. We just want to make sure we stay consistent and we connect the left side to the right side. That's why I decided to do a little bit of the fading in the back area already. That way it just makes it a little easier for me to connect this fade all the way around. So I know a lot of barbers, they don't like cutting kids. And I understand, man, I get it. Like, some kids, they're hard to cut, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do, man. Like this kid, he's a good kid, so luckily this one's a little easier for me. But I too, guys, I have them kid clients that they just, they're just a little tougher to cut, but man, I do it because the kids are the ones that's gonna keep, putting money in your pocket longer. Like, yeah, you want to cut the adults, you know what I'm saying? They gonna come in more often. But these kid clients, if you build a good relationship with them and their parents, they gonna keep bringing them to you until they get older. And then when the kid gets older, that's all they know. So they gonna continue to come to you also. So that's the main reason why I keep cutting kids. Like I said, I know a lot of barbers in the game right now, they don't accept kid cuts. And that's all cool. Like, if that's what you want to do, that's cool. But I'm gonna keep my options open just to continue to make my, basically make my business grow and make my finances grow. So I'm not saying you got to do it, but I will say that cutting kids is a good idea to keep that revenue coming in long term. Anyways, guys, let's get back to this cut. As you can see, I'm just doing some detail work now, using some corner blending, adjusting my lever, switching them guards up. Now I'm hitting that C cup. And then we're just lining them up a little more in the front, making sure it matches with the other side of the hair. Some more detail work. And this side, most of the time, the left side is harder than the right side for me. But on this particular haircut, maybe the way he sleeps or the way his hair pattern grows on that side of the head, the right side took me a little longer than the left side. And it might also have to do with that part that I put in the left side, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not exactly sure why it did take me longer to fade in the right side than the left and why it took me more steps, but not every part of the hair is gonna fade in exactly the same. Even though you gotta follow the same exact steps, sometimes they'll fade in differently, and you just gotta be able to adjust and, you know, adjust your clippers as needed to make sure you give that same look on both sides of the haircut. So here I am connecting the left side of the cut to the right side, and as you can see, it's already looking pretty blurry. I mean, granted, we are mostly done. We just got to finish this back part and hit him with that lineup and then put some product in his head, and he's ready to go. Here is a guard that I rarely use. It's actually my number 6 guard. I rarely use anything bigger than a 4 now. Like, I used to go all the way up to an 8, but now anything bigger than a 4, I just tend to use, you know, either shear over comb, clipper over comb, or sometimes I just use my blending shears over my comb. So if y'all been paying attention, guys, normally what I do is I decide to fade up and then I come back fading back down. That's basically just retracing my steps, going the opposite way, and it helps cross check my work, and it also helps give me a nicer blend. So here I am just doing some more detail work. And now we touching up this lineup in the front. Want to make sure it's super crispy. Now we're gonna go over everything we did with the razor. I didn't record me going over the part just because when I was going over it and tried hitting it, I was in the way, so I decided to leave that part out, but I did go over it with the razor just to make sure it looked a little more nicer and a little crispier. Now we just adding some texturizing powder from Smooth Hair Care. All right, guys, so check it out. This is how little man looked walking into the shop. Came in, he said, "Hook me up, Tank." And this is the finished product. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this cut down in the comment section, guys. If y'all like it, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you don't like it, you can go ahead and give this video a thumbs down. I ain't even tripping. Also, if you're new to my channel, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button one time for your boy. Y'all know what it is. We over here working, guys. I got some more videos coming. I appreciate y'all, YouTube. Until next time.